Welcome. This is Dr. J. Kent Gregory, and we are going through Chapter 2 of Human Resource Management. This Chapter 2 is Developing and Implementing Strategic HRM Plans. And just as a reminder, these PowerPoint videos are really just meant to hit the high points and maybe point out some things that I think are important or that I'd like for you to carry forward, particularly into other classes. And that's going to become particularly relevant for this discussion today. However, I think that the book itself is uh, very good in terms of setting things forth and explaining them. So please feel free to use your book and please do not solely rely on these PowerPoints. So kind of start off at the beginning, HRM, so Human Resource Management versus Personnel Management. So personnel management began in the really early 1900s after a series of strikes. Uh, and the department or the personnel department was created to improve relations between the management and the workers. And then eventually other organizations realized that HR was necessary to create employee satisfaction and develop human capital. Now, what we'll find and what we'll be discussing throughout the whole course of this term, that how human resource management has become much more complex and more pervasive might be a better way to put it throughout the entirety of an organization. So, as such, the role of HRM has evolved from personnel management to a point where it requires human resource strategy. So that's what we'll be talking about with this series of PowerPoint. So a couple different, here's a nice table, and this is lifted from the book, and it talks about some of the differences between personnel management and HRM. So personnel management focuses on administering of policies, whereas human resource management uh, talks about helping to achieve strategic goals through human capital. So another way to put that, and I think this is important, something that I want you to keep in mind, particularly as you carry forward into other classes, is that HRM is using human capital, i.e. the employees, to help the company or the organization to achieve its strategic plan. So HRM can be seen as an integral component to the achievement of the strategic plan of a company, and this will come into play quite a bit uh, when you eventually take BSP 411 business strategy. Um, Other things is personnel management focus, standalone programs such as training, whereas the HRM training programs are integrated with the company's mission and values. So again, something that we will be talking about in 411. So the following duties typically fall under human resource management. So staffing, basic workplace policies, setting them and administering them, compensation and benefits, so salary and then benefits like you know uh, such employee benefits as the 401k, retirement plans, 403bs, health insurance, life insurance, dental, things like that. And then retention of the employees, training and development of the employees, as well as overseeing and implementing regulatory issues and worker safety. So we'll talk, this is where OSHA comes into play. So human resource strategy can be seen as an elaborate and systematic plan of action. And the HRM strategic plan has got to be tied to the company's overall objectives. So it has to be aligned with and is indeed an integral part of the company's overall strategic plan. Uh, but so yes, so it's part of the overall strategic plan, and it has to be aligned with the company's mission, vision, and values. And again, that's something, mission, and I'm going to abbreviate these things, vision and values are all things that we'll talk about in 411. So business strategy. And then the HR plan addresses specifics in the HR department, and it's focused on shorter term goals tied to the overall HRM strategic plan. So you have the strategic plan of human resource management, which sits under the company's strategic plan. And you can think of as the HR plan as the tactics. So the specific actions, the tactics that the HR department uses to achieve its strategic plan, which is then part of the business strategic plan. There we go. So the Orwick model for HRM strategic planning consists of, you as the HR manager have to be a strategic partner with all of the other managers of the company or organization. You're there to be a change agent, which also means that which essentially means that you have to be prepared for change as they affect the HR, but also the changes that will affect the whole company. You're supposed to be an administrative expert and a functional expert. You're a human capital developer. So not only are you hiring employees, but you're developing them through training. And ideally, in the perfect world, the HR manager trains the employees and helps them develop along their career path so that they advance up into more important or greater roles or higher positions within the company. And then you're there to be an employee advocate. So you are there to, you're often the link between the C-suite managers and the employees themselves. So the components of a good HRM strategic plan are, you got to make it applicable. You have to be a strategic partner within the organization. You involve people, and you have to understand how technology can be used in the strategic plan. So that ends part one, and we'll pick up with part two in just a second.